£1.60.
Thank you. Oh, I'm afraid I can't quite manage it. It'll have to be a fiver. Thank you.
Sue, can you hang on a minute? We've got a shoplifter. Madam, you're a shoplifter and a thief. I'm making a citizen's arrest. Will you come with me, please?
Oh, no, you don't understand. I was just bringing them back. It's all a terrible mistake.
Pathetic.
Oh.
Are you two going to sit here all day? Do you think you might manage to do a bit of work this morning?
Sorry, Sarge, just coming. Hey, Sarge.
What?
You doing anything tonight? Yeah? Hartley Station. I want to report a shoplifter.
No, we don't need any more information at the moment, sir, other than the name, age, and the sex of the person you've detained, sir. Yeah. The constable who attends will arrange for statements as needed, sir. Yes, yeah, thank you very much, sir. Somebody will be with you shortly.
I didn't steal them.
Plain peekaboo, Al. We're just trying to wreck our front door, generally.
No. Just coming in, like. Getting my breath back first.
Been running to catch a bus, have you?
No.
Just as well. We don't get that many passing through here.
Training.
Beg pardon?
I'm in training.
Looks like you need it. Do you think I can help you at all?
Certainly hope so. Got a bit of a problem.
Oh,
I'd like to see Mrs. What's her name, if she's free. See if she can sort it out, like.
Mrs. what's her name?
You know, Inspector Lady. Don't know her name.
Shoplifter to be collected at Safe Price Supermarket. Know where the sergeant is?
Morning.
Morning.
Is she free then?
Mind telling me what it is you want to talk to her about?
Afraid I can't.
All right. Lost something, have we?
Yeah. I just dropped a 5p piece, like.
You were looking at station door. What have you got to say about those?
Not what you think it is.
Oh? What do I think it is?
It's just acne. My doctor gave me some cream for 'em.
Right. On your skates.
Point is, lad, if you don't tell me what it is you want to talk to her about, there's no way that you're going to get...
Another little informal discussion underway, is it, gents?
Morning, Sarge.
Well, if it isn't Timmy Demorrow, Hartley's resident rustler. What are you getting up to these days?
Going straight from now on. Got myself a little holiday job. Russell's in our street.
Glad to hear it. And to what do we owe the pleasure of this visit?
I'll tell the boss, if it's all the same with you.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning, ma'am. Timmy Demorrow, ma'am.
Oh, yes.
Says he'd like a word with you.
I see.
thought he might be able to help me, like.
Okay, I'll give you a minute, but it better be good. I'll have a chat with Timmy, Joe, before you bring me up to date.
All right, Mum.
Come on.
See? Told you she'd see me.
Now, that is what you call a turn-up for the book. Mrs. Baker.
You know her, Sarge?
Yeah, quite a local celebrity in her own quiet way. Husband was a councillor till he died a few years back. A nice bloke, I knew him well. They do say she's done more for local charity than anybody else in town.
Bit unlike her then, this shoplifting thing, is it, Sarge?
Yeah, I suppose you could say that, Daniel. Coming across the Queen Mum in your kitchen, robbing your gas meter would be about the nearest equivalent that jumps readily to mind.
Think it's a mistake, then?
Mustn't jump to conclusions. We must take our statements and weigh them carefully. Provided she's not poorly, that is.
Oh, mental trouble.
At her age, it's a possibility that has to be considered. Right, as we've no WPCs available, you better go and pick her up.
Oh, right, Sarge. Yeah, Pete, are you doing anything tonight? Oh, just a thought.
So, you've been behaving yourself since you were in court.
Oh, good as gold. You just give me a warning, you know. Overborrowing of the supermarket trolleys.
I know.
I told him it were all Mrs. Thatcher's fault. She told me the unimpolite to set upon their own.
Anything to do with that boy outside? It's glue sniffing, isn't it?
How did you know?
Spots. All right, let's have it.
I told him, if we didn't pack it in, I'd tell the police like. But being honest, I'd have a heck of a jogging around to telling you. But they chased me here themselves.
Tell us what? That it was going on?
No, not that. If they want to do the braids, then it's no skin off my back. It's the other thing.
What other thing?
The big kids. You go to derelict houses in Harvard Street to sniff it. They start to getting young kids, even younger than me. They're going to want to try it. Well, that's wrong.
Names?
Sorry, I couldn't go that far. Some of them used to be mates of mine.
That boy outside, one of them?
Couldn't go that far. But you know as well as I do, it's dead easy to spot them. Big homeless kids with spotty mouths who keep falling over. Can't miss them, can you? See ya.
How about you?
Me?
You ever tried it, glue sniffing?
No, I read the papers. Who wants to end up a zombie? Well, I'm dead in a pool of sick. No, I'll stick to my trade spotted. See ya.
So then, tomorrow, what were you doing in there?
Exactly what I warned you I would.
You what?
I told about Harvard Street.
Why, you... Ah! Oi! I'll get you for this tomorrow. Just you see if I don't.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Good job you arrived when you did, though. Otherwise, I'd have mangled him.
What was it all about?
Just kid stuff. You know, marbles, conkers, that sort of thing. Not to get flustered about.
You sure?
Yeah, sure. See ya.
Right. Glue sniffing. Kids using the derelict houses in Harvard Street as their hideaway.
Timmy?
It says the big kids are getting the little kids involved. I've seen it get a grip in too many towns where it wasn't tackled early enough, Joe. Got to move on this double quick.
I'll send Brian straight over there to have a look around.
Much of it in Hartley before?
It goes on. Had a couple of cases last year. Kid ended up in hospital. Local paper did a scare campaign, seemed to die out after that.
Check the hospital. See if they've had any more cases recently.
Right, man.
We'll have a blitz on this one, Joe. We want no kids playing with that filth in our patch.
Oh, you took your time, Constable. I really can't afford to sit around in my office all day, you know.
Well, we're quite busy ourselves, sir.
Ah, well, you're here now. This is the thief I rang in about.
It's all a terrible mistake. I wouldn't dream of stealing.
John? Kate? Look, could you possibly make a case conference this afternoon, 2:30? Looks so we might have a bit of a problem on our hands. Kids, and virtually every one of them's passing through your doors every week. I think you might be able to help. Glue sniffing. You did? Oh, well, that might be very useful. Look, could you get here half an hour early and we can have a chat about it? Fine. Look forward to seeing them. Bye. Joe, could you get me Barrow Lane on the line? I'm Ridgefield. I want to speak to the headmasters.
Juliet, quick!
Mrs. Baker, Sarge.
Hello, Mrs. Baker.
Good morning, Sergeant. This is all a terrible mistake.
Yeah, we'll look into it, ma'am. Take Mrs. Baker into the interview room.
Right, Sarge. This way, Mrs. Baker. I'll organise a cup of tea, Mrs. Baker. Sugar.
Two, please.
Well?
If you ask me, Sarge, it's an honest mistake plus a bit of old age forgetfulness. That supermarket manager's a right little fascist.
Hey, that's enough of that. There's billions of pounds being lifted every year from stores. Up to 4% of turnover's being thieved from some shops, so it can't be much fun being in management these days. Just think on that before you go calling people fascists.
Sorry, Sarge.
Right, get your statements. And watch your tongue, Danny. Be the death of you yet.
Oh, aye. And where might you be going?
Nowhere. Just so calm, wonder what was going on, that's all.
Well, off you go and wander somewhere else. This place is off limits from here on out. Oi. I don't suppose this stuff would be anything to do with you, would it?
What stuff?
Glue.
No, I never touch it.
Listen, you lot. This place is out of bounds from here on out. We're going to be patrolling round here regular from now on. And anybody found inside is nicked for trespassing. Right. You've been warned. So, keep away.
You better warn your friend, Timmy tomorrow. If he shows his face around here, he's in for a punching. Name? Don't have to.
Name.
Barry Bentley,
Address?
62 Priestley Close.
Date of birth?
13th of June, 68.
Right. Quite a little warning, Barry. Don't go threatening people out loud while I'm around. It's called conduct likely to cause a breach of the peace, and is very nickable. Got it? I said, have you got it?
I've got it.
Good. Don't forget it.
And that's about it, Mum. When Mrs. Baker got outside, she found them in her hand. Turned round to go back, and there was the manager. He says she turned round just in case she was followed, which of course she was by him. He says that she was actually stealing them.
What sort of man is he?
The manager, Mum.
Aye. I mean, if there's any reasonable doubt, would you be prepared to drop the case?
Well, they do have a difficult job, Mum. I mean, billions of pounds of the stuff is lifted off the shelves every year. Up to 4% of the turnover in some shops. So it can't be much fun being in management these days, can it, Mum? So probably not. Anyway, firm company policy, so he wouldn't have a lot of choice.
Company?
Oh, yes, Mum. Only 5 in the chain, according to Sergeant Beck. The owner hangs out at Colliston. And Mr. Simmons, Mum.
Thanks. I'll go and see Mrs. Baker.
Very good, Mum.
Oh, by the way, what time are you off?
2 o'clock, Mum.
Would you mind holding back for an hour? I'm having a case conference on glue sniffing, local. I'd like as many of my lads to attend as possible.
Certainly, Mum.
Good. Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
I'm Inspector Lawson.
Good morning, Inspector.
Well, not a very pleasant situation, Mrs. Baker.
I quite agree. Dreadful.
So, headache pills.
Yes. I did actually pay for the first packet. The other was an accident.
Do you get a lot?
Pardon?
Do you get a lot of headaches?
Oh, about average, I suppose.
What would you call average, Mrs. Baker?
Oh, every couple of days, I would imagine. Twice a week, perhaps. Nothing serious, just a twinge. But I do take at least one of these tablets every day. I read somewhere that they're good for keeping one's arthritic aches at a tolerable level. And then I simply take an extra one if I have a headache.
I see. You're a widow, Mrs. Baker.
Yes. 2 years ago now.
That takes a lot of recovering from.
Yes. Sleep is the hardest thing to come to terms with. It's only natural, I suppose. If for over 40 years there's always been someone beside you when you went to sleep and when you wake up, and then suddenly, yeah, takes a lot of coming to terms with.
Sleeping tablets?
No. They were on offer, of course, but it's a very dangerous road to start walking down, especially in my time of life.
Antidepressants?
No. I simply decided to ride out the storm. I am a believer, you see, and that helped. Well, I cried a lot at first. I still do occasionally, but that's healthy enough. No point in pretending I don't miss him, is there? Because I do, and I probably always will do. But if it's any help, Inspector, I've not gone potty yet, and I'm certainly not a thief.
Hey, Timmy.
Hey, John. How's it going?
All right, you know. Came to warn you. Keep away from Harvard Street. Barry Bentley said he's going to punch you up.
Oh, it don't frighten me.
I just thought I'd warn you, that's all. I'll see you.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Danny free at the moment, Joe?
He can easily be made so, Mum. At the moment, he seems to be conducting some sort of private survey into what everybody's doing this evening.
I've got something a bit more constructive for him to do. Get him to drop Mrs. Baker home, would you?
Right, ma'am. What do you think?
Early days. I'm just going to pop over and get the measure of the manager, Mark Johnson. See if he's the sort whose judgment I trust. What is that dreadful smell?
I'm sorry, ma'am, that's Brian.
Perhaps somebody should have a quiet word with him.
No, he's just come back from Harvard Street with a collection of plastic bags and tins. Glue galore. I've told him to shove them out in the yard.
Right, that's all we need. When you got Donny on the way, find out who owns the houses and we'll get them backboarded up tight.
Right, ma'am.
Oh, if John Holden arrives before I get back from Safe Prize, make him comfortable, would you?
Yes, indeed, ma'am.
Well, I'm pleased you were able to spare the time to discuss the matter, Mr. Johnson.
Well, of course, I made myself available as requested. But to be quite frank, Inspector, I can't really see what there is to discuss.
I beg your pardon.
Well, she stole the goods. I caught her. You arranged to have her prosecuted, and the court decides the merit or otherwise of her plea of not guilty. I mean, what does that leave to discuss?
Court can be a traumatic experience for anyone, Mr. Johnson. If there's any reasonable doubt...
No, not in my mind, anyway. Nothing I could do about it, even if there was. It's company policy.
I see. How many people did you arrest for shoplifting last year, Mr. Johnson?
That's 17 to 18.
And how many actual convictions?
Well, that'd be a lot easier to tell you in exact figures. I like to keep a check, you know, just in case. Yeah, there were 9 last year.
Do you call that a little disproportionate?
Beg your pardon?
Oh, 18 arrests and only 9 convictions. That's a lot of people wrongfully charged.
No, not all wrongfully charged. You see, you've got to accept that a proportion would have got off, even though they were guilty.
Well, I have to tell you that I'm not happy about going ahead with prosecuting Mrs. Baker. Both my officers and myself have interviewed her, and on balance, I think it was an honest mistake on her part. So, I'll be advising that we don't proceed any further with the matter.
Fine. Mr. Simmons, my superior, will naturally take out a private prosecution, as it's his policy to back his managers up to the hilt, when he knows they're in the right, that is.
I'll have a word with him.
Do that. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've a lot to do.
How'd it go, ma'am?
I'm with Mrs. Baker. I'm going to advise we don't proceed.
Reckon they'll go ahead in any case?
Well, I'll have a chat with the head man on my way through Colliston tomorrow morning. See if I can get him to put the brakes on Johnson a bit as well. 18 cases and 9 dismissals last year. Hello, John.
Hello, Kate.
When they start arriving for the conference, let me know, would you, Joe?
Right, ma'am.
This way, John. And here. Glue sniffing.
Yeah, nasty one. Cheaper and quicker than booze, but chances are you'll pay for it with your life.
Thanks.
Yeah, terrible, isn't it? First time I come across it, it was, weird. I saw this kid walk into the public loo next to the bus stop. He was right as rain. 2 minutes later, he came out, he was legless. I mean, to look at him, he was totally drunk. He kept falling over. And, of course, everyone at the bus stop looked the other way. So I went over and I picked him up. And you could smell the stuff on his breath. He had glue on his hair, he had glue on his clothes. He was a mess.
Much of it at the club?
Oh, we've had our moments, yeah.
Recently?
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, some of the kids stopped showing, so that surprised me, and I went looking for them, yeah.
And?
Well, I found them. I talked to them, and hopefully we'll sort it out finally.
Names?
Is this friendly or official?
In this uniform, in this office, John, it's always official.
Oh, I can't help you then.
I want to help them.
Well, what can you do in that uniform that I can't do better without?
Get solvent sales in Hartley under control.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'll give you that. You can do that. I can't do that. But you see, I look after the welfare of the kids in my club. And I'm afraid when it comes down to it, one of the rules of the game is I don't give their names to the police. They trust me.
So did I.
Mr. Spindler's arrived, ma'am.
Show him in, would you, Joe? Well, when you and the lads are free, I'd like to get underway as soon as possible, please.
Right, ma'am.
As yet, no solid legislation exists in England barring this trade. We shall just have to let common sense dictate and try to control the matter ourselves.
How do you hope to do that, Inspector?
This afternoon, I intend to have 2 leaflets printed. One listing products for the shopkeeper's own information, and one setting out the characteristic signs of the solvent sniffer. This second leaflet we will attempt to have posted in every shop in Hartley that sells any product which could be used in this way.
That's virtually every shop in town.
Yes. The officers who deliver these leaflets will be told to impress upon the managers the basic rules we would like imposed. No sales of any of these listed items to any unaccompanied children, and keep an eye on the older ones. Any excessive orders to be refused out of hand. In fact, I want glue and other solvent products in Hartley to be treated like the old X pictures. Definitely not for children, and if in doubt, keep them out.
Look, it's not just the kids, you know. I mean, what about the parents? I mean, I think they have a responsibility in this matter. I think they must realize that any child found apparently drunk from whatever source can be legally taken to a place of safety for his own protection. And if the problem persists, then the child can even be removed from the parent by the court. Now,
I think you'll find that parents who know and care, Mr. Holden, are worried already. And what worries me is the parents who don't know and don't care. And what we need is a campaign, not just local, national. Let's spread the message. Our kids are in danger. Let's do something about it.
That's exactly what I intend to do, George. But let's start local and then try to spread the message from there. Anything else? Any further questions? Thank you all for attending. It's been a very helpful meeting. Yes, I'll see you get some of those at the centre. Joe, I want you to liaise with George and get as many officers as possible standing by tomorrow morning to get the job done.
Right, Mum.
George, would you mind holding back when the others are gone?
Certainly, Mum.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, I'll answer your question without you asking it, Mum. Yes, I have had some experience of this kind of thing in my own family. Last year, the middle one, Simon, I found him stealing glue from my tool chest. It turned out it'd been going on for weeks, if not months. But you see, parents might think to check their wallet or their purse or even the level of the booze, but who'd think to keep an eye on the glue in the tool chest?
How is it now?
Well, it's okay, I think, Mum. At least I've seen no signs of it recently. I got hold of these statistics from Juvenile Branch. That was a bit of an eye-opener for him. Seemed to do the trick. I think it's behind him now.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Ah, let's hope. Mum, I've never ever discussed this with anyone here.
Neither will I, George.
Thank you.
Well, if that's what they're selling at over there, we'll drop by 2 pence on that item. Oh, and put a penny each on the tin ham and the sardines. That should cover it nicely. Safe price, Mr. Johnson. Yeah, put him through. Ah, Mr. Simmons. About yesterday's returns. Oh, she was caught red-handed. Well, myself, as it happens. No, I don't think that would be a very good idea, sir, if you don't mind me saying so. It sets all kinds of precedents. Yes, yeah, I'll forget all about it. That woman inspector talked him out of prosecuting that shoplifter. Police. Why can't they stop interfering? Do what they're paid to do.
See this dinner when you go home tomorrow. I'll have a little present for you by then.
Here, Sarge, I think it's wise. What? We've given me Ainsley Road to cover as well.
Bit long for you to walk down, is it?
No, it's not that, Sarge. It's just that that's where Safe Price Supermarket is. Well, manager and I didn't exactly hit it off, did we?
Well, now's a good time to get some practice of diplomacy in, isn't it? Show him you're a nice lad, really, and a caring citizen to boot.
I don't like the sound of that last bit, Sarge. He just might take you up on it.
On your way. If I were you, I'd get that one over first. Take it off your mind.
Yeah, I'll do that, Sarge.
Does that inspector of yours think that we shopkeepers are all fools? Don't know what's going on in the world? I already know the dangers inherent in every product in this list. I keep an eye on who's buying them and how much they buy.
She's just trying to spread the message a bit wider, that's all, Mr. Johnson. Lots of people don't know. She thought if you could just put them where your till girl and the shoppers can see them.
99.9% of my customers are normal people, Constable. Family people. Do you really expect me to put a notice up about sores round the mouth where they're buying the weekly food? Quite frankly, I think your inspector's got a screw loose. Good day.
Look, Mr. Johnson, this is quite important.
Good day.
Mr. Johnson.
Hello, what we got here then? It's a bit excessive, isn't it?
Mr. Johnson, isn't it?
That's right.
My dad owns Davies, the joiners.
What, in Enton Street?
Yeah, that's the one. Normally gets his glue from Cash and Carry in bulk, but saw your price on this make a few days back. Reckons it's a better buy than his usual one. So he sent me round to get a few cans to try it like. If it does job well, could end up as a regular biggish order. Mind you, come to think of it, he did mention I shouldn't say that to you.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to worry about, is there? He's not the type of boy to take up glue sniffing.
Certainly not. My dad would murder me if I did.
Carry on, Sue.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. So, keep the dangerous stuff up high where they can't reach it. Or better still, behind the counter so they have to ask for it.
Timmy! Timmy! Timmy!
Hello, Demoro. Nice to see you again.
It's been a smashing reaction right through town.
Near enough a clean sweep. Get market day over tomorrow and that'll be the whole town on the alert.
Doesn't surprise me. Once you let people know the problem, they're usually willing to help.
Only one outright rejection against putting the leaflet up so far as it happens.
Oh, aye.
Safe Price Supermarket.
Ah.
Exactly.
Who covered it?
Danny Sparks.
Was that wise?
I thought so at the time. Looks as though I was wrong.
Don't seem to be the manager's favourite people at the moment.
I had a chat with the head of the group this morning, got him to drop the shoplifting charge. Obviously, the manager's been told and is taking it personally.
Think another chat with the head man might help.
No, not this time. But I do think that's a nasty bit of road outside his shop. Dangerously busy. I reckon it'd be a good idea if we posted a constable out there during shop hours. Just in case any children happen to be crossing the road, might warn them to be wary. What do you both think?
Seems very sensible to me, Ma. Almost a public duty, really.
As you say, highly dangerous. We'll get someone round there now, shall we?
I was wondering, can you tell me the way to Hartley Police Station, Constable?
Hello, Brian.
Have we finished?
Yeah, just caught the last couple before they closed.
Me too. Hop in. Save the shoe leather.
Great. My feet are killing me. You know, the only thing that's keeping me going is the thought of all that lovely overtime.
Great.
Honest?
Yeah, straight up. Said we're doing a grand job. And he gave me a packet of those jelly baby things.
Well, give him to me then.
All gone hours ago.
Oh, yeah. No wonder you've got a weight problem.
Get off.
What the?
What on earth?
Come on, it's all right, don't worry. Don't worry.
Just appeared in front of the car, man.
Come on,
in the middle of the road.
Did he hit him?
No, Mum.
No, we
Thank
went
God.
close.
Timmy, what happened? What happened to me?
I was going to see
Yes. Go on.
Taking ages.
Yeah?
I'm an empty.
Who?
Now. Barry Bentley.
Do you know Barry Bentley?
Made me sniff stuff. Stank.
Yes, go on.
Police had him by a long time. Fell over me. Go away when he fell over. No, very well.
Which house?
Come on, Timmy.
Timmy?
It's all right.
Timmy, wake up. Concentrate. Which
I
house?
can't remember.
You've got to. Go on.
One of them. Dover Street.
Which house?
Better get there quick. Dover Street.
Do you know Barry Bentley, Sergeant?
No more.
I had a few words with him yesterday, man. Hanging around the house in
Go and get
Harvard
him.
Street.
Bring him in quick.
Yes,
You too, Danny.
Yes, Mum.
Go and get a car round, Sergeant. We'll get him to the hospital.
Brian! Get an ambulance, it don't look good.
7749 to Hartley. Danny? Are you there, Danny? I called the ambulance.
Over here. He's dead, Brian. He's only a kid and he's dead.
They found it near the body in a safe price supermarket bag.
Today's date.
Yes, Mum.
I'll be back in an hour. I've got things to attend to.
Want me to come with you?
No, this one's all mine. Thank you.
When's this going to stop, Inspector? I'd like to finish my work and go home.
I've had policemen on my back all day, inside and outside my shop. Yesterday it was one being offensive about my treatment of a thief. And then you interfering with company policy as regards shoplifters.
The policeman was outside to put off any kids who might be tempted to buy glue here. The only shop in Hartley without our warning displayed.
This is insufferable. It's harassment.
It's not harassment, Mr. Johnson. A public duty. Unfortunately, we got the policeman outside too late to stop Barry Bentley's purchase.
Barry Bentley?
About 5 hours ago, a youth of 15 bought 6 large cans of safe weld adhesive here. Did you know that?
Yes, my assistant brought my attention to it. Turns out the boy's father owns a small timber yard close by. Could, in fact, become a good customer of Safe Price.
The boy's father doesn't own any timber yard, Mr. Johnson. The boy was lying.
Well, see the boy about it, not me. I've done nothing wrong. There's nothing you can prosecute me for. So why this constant harassment?
Not harassment, Mr. Johnson. And you're right. No prosecution will arise. In fact, I've simply come to bring you an invitation.
Invitation?
Yes. The boy collapsed after sniffing the glue you sold him. He died of asphyxiation. I've just seen his body at the mortuary. He was 15 years old. I thought you might like to attend the funeral. After all, you do deserve to be invited. I mean, if it hadn't been for you, there'd be no funeral to attend, would there? Good day, Mr. Johnson.
Next on Drama, we catch up with London's finest police. The good folk of Sun Hill are on the beat. In the bill.
You weren't thinking of leaving these bikes here?
No, we're going to take them into the court with us.
You can read, presumably.
You're a magistrate, are you then?
Don't let them be here when I get back, will you? Unless you want booking.
Morning, Inspector.
They're all a bunch of boys, aren't they?
Hey, Roy.
Quiet in court. Is your name Roy Brown?
Yeah,
How old are you?
19.
Is your address 45 Waterloo House, Hartley?
Yeah.
You're charged that at Hartley, on Monday, September the 14th, you were guilty of burglary in a certain dwelling house situated at 76 Dawson Terrace, in that you enter the premises as a trespasser with intent to commit an offence of stealing therein.
The prosecution would like to ask for a remand in custody of this case, Your Worships, to enable the police to complete their inquiries.
Is there an application for bail?
Your Worships, I would like to make application for bail to be granted to the defendant. His parents have offered to act as surety for him.
In view of the seriousness of the case and the likelihood of the defendant failing to surrender to custody, the police would ask that bail not be granted in this case, Your Worships.
Bail will not be granted in this case.
Come on, court.
And if there is any more of that, the bench will retire and have the court cleared. Roy Brown, you will be remanded in custody for 8 days pending further police inquiries. Take him down.
Thanks for laying on the transport, Josie.
Right.
Oh, and Joseph, when David gets back with my car, make sure he returns the keys.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, can I have the keys to the area car in case somebody else wants to use it?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Policewoman's car?
Yeah.
You didn't.
Hey.
That's superb. You must have brain damage. Got from the fuzzy's transport.
She gave me a gross, she got some back.
Been having a good cry, haven't you? I'll come and see you, Roy.
Will you do us a favour, Dean?
Anytime, love, you know that.
I won't go and see Roy. Will you give us a lift over to the mansion?
Make it worth me while, will you?
Will you? Well, I'll cough off for the petrol.
Sorry, Ollie. Only I've got this important bit of business on, you know.
What, all flaming week? We'll stick you in your rotten bike, then.
You know, Dino, I think there's a nice wee piece going wasted there.
Yeah, well, she isn't into real hard cases like you, so get in the back of the queue, eh?
Looking after Roy's interests, are you, while he's inside?
What am I it's for, eh?
You'll be lucky.
We'll see.
It's a bit of business then. You got something lined up, have you?
Maybe. Needs checking out first. One final recce.
The valve was missing.
Yes, Mum.
Couldn't have blown out, could it?
No.
And what do you think happened?
Well, somebody must have necked it. Oh, you're in court. Kids, perhaps.
There were some hanging around, actually. Now you come to mention it.
Aren't you glad to see me, then?
No, I'm not. Every time I do, it means you want something.
Do you want a cup of tea?
No, I know you want something. Don't go mad with those tea bags. Oh, that face. I'd have it lifted if I could think which bit needed lifting the most.
He's still living with you, is he?
You're referring to Bobby? Yes, he is.
Roy's been remanded for a week.
I know. I read it in the paper this morning. Why can't you find yourself a decent lad?
Like Bobby, you mean?
At least he's not a criminal. I mean, I might have had some fellas in my time, but at least I never stood that low.
Yeah, well, perhaps you had home to go to, didn't you?
So would you if you'd learnt to keep your trap shut.
This was my own before he came along.
Never give him a chance.
Because I knew what his game was. He wanted me out of it, and it didn't take him very long to manage it, did it, Mum?
Oh, shut up, Arlene. You're giving me a date. Now, where are those rotten tights?
Fishnet, are they?
Oh, would you look at the state of them? I bet they're my last pair and all.
Mum? Can you lend us a couple of quid just till I get my social security?
No, I can't.
I'll pay you back.
Of course you will, next year sometime.
I need it for fares. To go and see Roy.
Look, Arlene, where do you think I got that sort of money at this time of the week? If I had 2 quid, you could have it. What an it bloody head off.
Can I help you? I should hope so. We've been robbed.
Right. If you can just let me have some details, it's Mr. and Mrs.
I'm Mr. Robert Dawson. This is Mrs. Muriel Davis.
And your address, Mr. Dawson?
15A, Walcott Terrace.
And yours, Mrs. Davis?
Same.
Anything for me, Joseph?
Just there, ma'am.
No.
And you've been robbed, you say, Mr. Dawson?
I haven't, but she has. That thieving little bitch nicked a fiver right out of her handbag.
So you know who took it, then?
Well, of course I know who took it. It was her daughter took it.
Hadn't been out the room 2 minutes.
So, your daughter stole £5 from your purse and you want to lay a complaint, do you, Mrs. Davis?
Right, Sergeant.
Mrs. Davis, do you mind, Joseph? Shall we go into my office? Please sit down. Now then. You don't think this might be better sorted out between you when your daughter gets back?
She'll not be coming back, will she?
She won't.
She don't live with us, you see. Not anymore.
Oh, she's married, is she?
She's got this fella she lives with.
When he's not in jail.
How old is your daughter, Mrs. Davis?
18.
And do you know where she does live?
Oh, yeah.
They're in this flat.
And you're quite sure that you want to involve us in this?
Look, do you want it in writing?
Mrs. Davis?
Well, it was my money and she did take it.
What I mean is, if we do get involved, then she'll have to be charged with theft, which means she'll have to appear in court, and of course you'll be asked to give evidence against her. Perhaps she was desperate for the money.
I know what she wanted it for.
Oh?
Ah, she wanted it for bus fare to go and visit me lad over at the remand centre.
Milado being the man she's living with, right?
That's right, and it's not his first offence neither. Trash the pair of them.
And how long has she been living with him, Mrs. Davis?
Well, I don't know, 2 months maybe. I don't want to know.
Then you don't approve of the relationship?
No, I don't.
And what have you done about it?
Not what I think. She's got a mind of her own, is that one?
I ain't a mouth to go with it.
Oh.
You have an address for her, you say?
Yeah, 45 Waterloo House. It's up on the estate.
Well, I tell you what. You go home and sleep on it, and I'll pop round there sometime later today myself and have a word with her about it. All right?
All right.
Right.
What do you want to let us talk you out of it for?
I'll stop it.
You know their game, don't you? All they're interested in is getting out of doing any bloody work.
Shut up, yes, bye.
Did you, get anywhere, ma'am?
Waterloo Estate, Jonesy.
Hiya. Major Jim.
Yeah.
You saw him then?
Yeah.
How'd you get over there?
Bus and walked.
This must be love.
Robson's choice, really, wasn't it? Seeing as his so-called best mate wouldn't give me a lift.
Business love, I told you. How is he anyway?
It's all right.
Taking his punishment like a man.
That's right.
Not a bad kid, Roy. Strictly amateur night, though.
He was unlucky, do you know?
Listen, love. There's more to housebreaking than smashing a window and hoping nobody's at home. You should have stuck with me instead of going freelance. I'd have looked after him, just like I always did.
But he was never in trouble in his life until he got mixed up with you lot down that arcade.
You're wasting your time with Roy, love. He's a loser. He could do a lot better.
Hey, Tin Ribs. You miss me, have you? Go and find us something to eat.
Arlene Davis.
That's right.
Can you come in? We've met before, actually, haven't we?
Have we?
Magistrate's court the other day.
Oh, yeah.
When I got back to my car, somebody let one of the tyres down.
Yeah?
I don't suppose either you or any of those lads that were with you would know anything about that.
No, you're right, I don't.
May I?
If you want.
Ooh, she's thin.
Yeah. She was starving when I took her in. I'm wet through. Somebody tried to drown her.
Nice people.
What do you want, anyway?
We had your mother in this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Expect you know what about.
No.
She alleges you stole £5 from her purse.
That's a lie.
According to her, there's a £5 note in her purse and she left you alone in the living room. When she came back, you'd gone and sold the money. You're telling me now that it wasn't you that took it?
Didn't say that.
Oh, didn't you?
I didn't say I didn't take it. I said I didn't nick it. I just borrowed it, that's all.
Without her permission?
I'm going to let her have it back just as soon as I get my social security. And I told her that when I asked her if she'd lend me something.
You still got this money?
Some of it.
How much?
A couple of quid.
What happened to the rest of it?
Spent it, didn't I? On fares to go and see Roy.
Roy being Roy Brown, who was remanded in custody.
That's right. Thanks to you.
I beg your pardon?
So you should. Seeing it was you who's objected to bail.
Well, you know why, don't you? The last time he had to appear in court, he was granted bail and he failed to turn up. He had to be brought in.
Before he met me, wouldn't he? I'd have made sure he'd have turned up.
Yes, but it wasn't you that was offering to act as surety for him, was it? It was his parents.
Then?
Oh, you don't get on with
No.
him?
No, you're right, I don't.
Any more when you get on with Mr. Dawson?
That one. I'd dance at his funeral any day.
He was the reason you left home, then?
I didn't leave, I was booted.
Why was that?
Because I took an exception to him feeling free to give me Mama good hiding every time I fancy took him. She might have been prepared to put up with it, but I wanted, so I had to go, didn't I? Roy had room, so I moved in with him. Why not?
You going to marry him?
If he asks. He wants to. If he doesn't, then...
Not much of a prospect, is he? If he carries on the way he's going.
I happen to love him. Or is that something you just wouldn't understand?
Why on earth should you think that?
Look, he's not one of your real villains, you know. One of your heavies.
No, he's just a burglar. Somebody who breaks into other people's homes without any regard at all for the possible consequences, the effect it could have on these people for the rest of their lives.
Look, am I going to be charged, or aren't I?
No, not this time if it can be avoided, but it's actually entirely up to your mother.
Oh, Bobby. I mean, no prizes for guessing who dragged you lot in.
Look, I'll talk to her again, okay? Tell her that you return the money just as soon as you've got your social security, right? Right. Your work?
Ah, it's Roy's.
Very good.
He went to art school for 2 years. Still couldn't get a job when he left.
You will return the money?
Said I would, didn't I?
There you
give us a fag. That's her. She's loaded. She goes to the shops every afternoon about 2. Stays about an hour. Regular as clockwork.
It's a bit risky, isn't it? In broad daylight.
Not if you're careful. Know what you're doing, what you're looking for. What time have you got?
It's just gone 1 o'clock.
Good. Time for a jar first.
Any particular brand of cat food, Mum?
No, I don't think so. Just see what I've got, eh? Down at the supermarket.
Yes, Mum.
Yeah. Didn't know you had a cat now, man.
I have.
There's news from the Burnley Chess Club. Alan Muirhead discovers the advantages of visiting
Oh, honestly.
USA. And in our big spot today, David Netherwood talks to Dick Hope about prize-winning vegetables. But first, news of a programme on Thursday.
Mrs. Davis.
Come in.
Thank you.
Sit yourself down.
Oh, thanks.
This week,
We'll go, though, innit?
competition features the New Romantics, a movement which surrounds quite a...
I saw Arlene last night. She assures me she'll pay you back just as soon as she's got her social security.
She says.
I have every confidence that she will. And when she does, we'll leave it at that, shall we? I have given her a stiff talking to. I'm sure it won't happen again.
I'm sure I don't know what Bobby will say.
She's your daughter, Mrs. Davis, not Mr. Dawson's, and it was your money she took.
All right, then we'll leave her.
Now, about Arlene, Mrs. Davis.
Yeah?
There's every chance that this boy she's living with will be sent to boarding school.
See? Now, I've told you about it till I'm sick. You must just be attracted to that type, that's all I can think. Sure, I don't know where she gets it from.
She told me she went to live with Roy Brown because she was kicked out of your house.
I wouldn't say she was kicked out as such.
Oh, what would you say?
Well, she made no effort at all to get on with Bobby. I mean, he gave her things, made no difference. She wasn't wearing him at any price, that was that.
And as far as you're concerned, Bobby comes first, right?
Well, we're going to get married, you see. Bobby has said we'll get married. Do you want a fag?
No, thank you. And what about Arlene? She's hardly more than a child, Mrs. Davis. You do have a certain responsibility towards her, even if she's 18 now.
Well, she'll be all right. She's always been able to fend for herself as that one.
Perhaps because she's had to.
I don't know what you mean.
I think you do, Mrs. Davis. Now, look, she's keeping bad company. And it's my experience of that sort of situation that it's only a matter of time before she's in trouble herself with the police. The fact that she helped herself to your purse when she's never done anything like that before points the way.
Yeah, well, I just can't have her back with me. I just can't. My nerves won't stand it. I know they wouldn't. So, she'd just like to give me the money back. We'll call it quits, right?
Goodbye, Mrs. Davis.
You stay with it. Mr. Logan should be there in about 10 minutes.
How bad is she?
It's hard to say. She's still in a coma. Head wounds are always bad news. Any witnesses?
One of the neighbours saw a couple of kids driving off on a motorbike, but she didn't get much of a look.
What does the doctor think?
She could be unconscious for hours, longer.
The minute she shows any sign of coming round, you get me, son, right?
Yes, sir.
Got any plasters, have you?
Oh, come in, Dina. What have you done?
I knocked it, scraped it on my bike.
I'll have a look. So I don't think I've got much, but...
Hey, you've got a cat.
Yeah. Only got a bandage. I'll dab it with cotton wool, but you'll have to have something else later.
That's all right. Ow!
Ooh, you'll have to have some stitches, you know, Dina.
Oh, I'll be all right.
Put this on for now. It won't be very good.
You've got nice warm hands.
Is that too tight?
No, it's fine. Thanks. A lot.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
It's a birthday present.
It's not my birthday.
Happy birthday then.
Oh, it's lovely. Where did you get it from?
Second-hand stall off market. Do you like it?
It's lovely. But why?
Why not? Hey, do you want a drink?
Thanks.
Well, go on then, try it on.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, it suits you.
Hey!
I can't tempt you then. To a drink.
No. Whiskey makes me sick.
Oh yeah, me too.
You're not by any chance on your bike, do you?
Why? Wanting a lift, are you? Over to see little Roy?
No, thanks.
He'll get done this time, love, you know. For sure.
I don't think so.
They're getting real fierce, local magistrates round here. What teenage crime going on round Hartley? So where does that leave you, eh?
How do you
When
mean?
he does get sent down,
I'll be all right.
it'll be lonely for you.
I'll be all right.
That little boy lost look he has. That the attraction, is it? Brings out the mother in you.
Perhaps.
We could have a good time, you and me. If you were into it.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Eh? Eh?
Can I come in for a minute?
Yeah.
Could I have a word?
I'll see you around, kid. Soon.
Come on your bike, have you?
No, love, spaceship.
Don't think of driving it, will you, in that condition?
I wouldn't dream of it, sir.
Thought these might help to fatten up a bit.
Oh. Thanks.
I saw your mother.
Yeah?
If you let her have the money back, she won't press charges.
Right. Thanks.
You saw Roy then at the remand centre?
Yeah.
Dreary places, though, aren't they? And they're all the same, you know, except some are even worse than others. In fact, a pretty terrible prospect, actually. knowing that someone like Roy is almost certain to spend a good part of his life in one or other of them, unless he pulls himself out of it. I bet he listens to you, doesn't he?
Sometimes.
You should have a talk to him about it. Really have a go at him. You could be his last chance. You'd be surprised how early they crop up sometimes. Last chances.
Nos. She's coming round.
Hi.
It's you. Thanks. Just you think yourself lucky you didn't get summoned.
What happened to your face?
I walked into a wall.
He's been hitting you again, hasn't he?
None of your business.
You must be stupid. Why do you put up with it, Mum? Do you get some sort of kick out of being knocked about or something?
Arlene, don't start.
You're too soft. That's your
Oh,
trouble.
shut up, will you, before he hears you. See, now, will you go and tell us no?
You out!
I'm warning you. You keep your hands off my mum, right?
Out, I said!
I mean it. You lay another finger on her and I'll get you.
No, Bobby, no! Will you go?
Well, come with me then, Mum.
No.
You're pathetic.
Trash!
All right.
Can you remember what he looked like, Doris?
Put his hand over my mouth. Oh, but I bit him. Oh, yes.
Can you remember anything about him? Anything at all, love?
It threw me. He had these rings. Big rings.
Rings?
Yes, on the hand that she bit. A whole fistful of them. One in particular stuck in her mind, in the shape of a letter D.
D?
Yes,
D, rings. How old did you say it would be?
late teens, early 20s.
And they got away on a motorbike, right?
Right, so?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Sit there, love. She won't be a minute.
Hello. So now what have I done?
Nothing, I do hope. This is Detective Chief Inspector Logan. Yesterday afternoon, there was a boy at your flat. He had a lot of rings, including one with a big letter D on it.
So?
Friend of yours?
Friend of Roy's, why?
There's been an incident. We've reason to believe that boy might be able to help us with our inquiries. What's his name?
Dino.
Dino? Italian, is he?
That's his nickname.
Well, what's his real name?
John Forbes.
Do you know where he lives?
No.
Sure? But do you know where he goes? Tends to hang about. Club, pub, disco. Well?
Dino. Oh, yeah. Another one. Big lad. Fancies himself. Comes in here quite often.
Is he here now?
No. One of his mates is, though. Well, he was half a minute ago. I shoot him with a foot. No doubt about it.
Do you reckon the old girl can identify you?
No, I shouldn't think so.
Well, supposing she can.
But we don't even know if it's that job they're on about yet, do we? Just in case, eh?
Patrick, yes.
Hiya.
Excuse me. I need a favour, love.
Yeah?
A big one.
What?
Yesterday afternoon when that policewoman was round here. If anybody asks, I've been with you all afternoon, all right?
She pulled me in, you know, asking where you were.
And you told her?
No, why not?
What else did you tell her?
Just where to find you, that's all.
Did she say why she wanted me?
No, Dino, all she said was that there'd been an incident and that you might be able to help.
Right. If anybody asks, I've been with you all afternoon, all right? You tell them that.
Why should I?
Because Roy's my mate, love. Me best mate. And you're his bird. And even more important, because you've got a pretty face, love. At the moment. Oh, by the way, I'll have that necklace back.
What?
The necklace!
Why?
Because I don't want doing for burglary and you don't want doing for receiving. All right, now give it here. Hello there. Blow down arcade reckons you want to talk to me about something.
Get Mr. Logan, Joseph.
Show me your hands. Turn them over. D for Dino, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
But real name, John. Why do they call you Dino when your name is John?
They reckon I look like him. You know, James Dean.
They need glasses.
I don't fancy you either.
Don't get cocky with me, son.
Look, what is this, eh? I mean, what am I supposed to have done?
Take off the bandage.
What?
The bandage on your hands.
Why?
Do as you're told and have less lip. Somebody bit you, did they? Like an old woman, perhaps, who's in hospital at present with a fractured skull.
What? My girlfriend gave me that. Very passionate girl.
Where were you yesterday afternoon between 2 and 3?
I was with her. We was having this, private party up at her place.
You're lying.
Not me, pal.
Yesterday afternoon, you broke into a house in Carlton Street.
No, I didn't.
Only the owner came back early because she'd forgotten her purse. And when she caught you in there, you threw her on the floor and smashed her head.
Look, I was with me girl. And if you don't believe me, don't take my word for it. Ask her outside.
Who? Outside?
Hartley's answer to Charlie's Angels. She saw me there.
He was there when I arrived. Must have been about 4:30.
Well, he says he was there all afternoon.
He's lying.
Yes, but if the girl is prepared to say that he was...
I'm sure she won't.
Where were you between 2 and 3 yesterday afternoon?
At home.
On your own?
No, with Dino Forbes.
Doing what?
What do you think?
You're lying, aren't you?
No.
He says that he's your boyfriend.
That's right.
But you've got a boyfriend. He's on remand in custody.
I have lots of boyfriends.
Why are you covering for him?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you get a cut, did you, of the old lady's savings?
She's lying.
Of course she is. You prove it, though.
Can I have a go at it? Do you mind?
Help yourself.
Why are you lying to us, Arlene?
I'm not.
Roy's your boyfriend. You know I know that. And how you feel about him. Has Dino threatened you, is that it? That is it, isn't it?
No.
Look, there's nothing to be frightened of. We'll give you complete protection.
I don't want your protection, and I don't want your help, right? I just want to be left out of it.
But you're already in it, aren't you? And right up to your neck if you provide him with a false alibi. I mean, you do realise that's a serious crime in itself, perjury. Now, listen to me, Arlene. For your own sake, if nobody else's. The old lady got a good look at the boy who attacked her, right down to the rings he was wearing. And when she's better, we'll hold an identity parade. And if she picks out Dino, your alibi will count for nothing anyway, but it leaves you right in it. You'll be facing charges yourself then. Remember the talk we had the other day? About Roy starting a new life, and you being the one to help him, probably the only one, because you knew the sort of life ahead of him if you didn't. Well, I think that got through to you, Arlene. Now then. Let me tell you what happened to put the old lady in hospital.
I don't want to know. It's nothing to do with me.
Oh, yes, it is. And Roy, too. A lot to do with you. Now, you told me your Roy wasn't a real heavy, but is Dino? I mean, really? He didn't go in that house to attack an old woman, presumably. He went in there to steal, so why did he attack her? Well, I think it's fairly obvious. She disturbed him and he panicked, and that could just as easily have been your Roy.
No.
Could still be sometime, somewhere, if you don't help him. And you're not going to be able to help him, are you, Arlene? If you're in trouble yourself by saying you spent the afternoon in bed with his mate. I mean, will Roy listen to you then, when he hears that? You disappoint me, Arlene. You really do. You told me you loved that lad, and I believed you.
Wait.
The defendants will be remanded in custody for 8 days, pending further police inquiries. Take them down, please.
Oh, hello, Arlene.
Hi. Can I have a word with you, please?
Yes, of course.
Roy is still here, isn't he?
Yes, he's down in the cells now. Why?
Can I see him?
Yes, I should think so.
Only... Well, I've been thinking about what you said, and... Yeah, you are right. He does listen to me. If he could just get off with probation or a suspended sentence, then perhaps we could start afresh.
Well, I'm afraid it's not up to me now, Arlene. It's for the court to decide.
Yeah, I do realise that. It's just, well, I thought... Well, what happens if he pleads guilty, right? Admits it? It's bound to make some difference, isn't it?
Well, it's up to the bench. For our part, we'd make it clear to them that he'd given us every cooperation and saved us a lot of time and trouble by pleading guilty. Put it this way, he couldn't do any harm.
So, could I see him?
Plead guilty?
Well, you did do it, Roy.
Yeah, but if I plead guilty, I've no chance, have I?
Not much chance, anyway.
There's always a chance, Arlene.
Only that's not the point, is it? It's not, is it, Roy? I mean, there comes a time, and I mean, if you're going to end up an old lag eventually, then you've got to stop all this.
Look, I told you, I'm going to. And if I get off with this one, that's me finished with it.
It's not, is it? It won't be, you know it won't. If you get off with it this time, you'll be back down the arcade without lot, and it'll start all over again.
So what do you want me to do? Get myself sent down?
No, just admit that you did it. Tell him you're sorry. Tell him you're really going to try or something, and if that policewoman speaks up for you, then you'll probably only get probation anyway.
Roy Brown, you have pleaded guilty to the charge. You've also said you're very sorry, and we're sure that you are. At the same time, you have admitted burglary, and this is not your first offence. In fact, anything but. It is our opinion that what you need is what the Home Secretary has called a short, sharp shock. The sentence of this court is that you be sent, therefore, to a detention centre for 3 months, in the hope that it will make you realise the seriousness of this sort of thing. Take him down, please.
talking about all morning?
Who's talking about all morning?
Well, how long are you going to be?
About a quarter of an hour.
I can't wait that long, you'll have to move.
Who says I will?
I've got to get out. I've got to be at the office in 10 minutes. It's very important.
And I've got this skip to load.
Look, don't just walk away when I'm talking to you.
Why? What are you going to do?
Excuse me. You do realise you're obliged by law to move this lorry?
Who says?
I do. I'm a police officer. You're causing an obstruction. So if you'll kindly do as I say, you can move it back when you've let this gentleman by.
I'm sick of it, I'll tell you that. The time I've wasted shunting up and down this road.
Yeah, we're all sick of it round here, sir. We've had to put up with this for God knows how many months now.
Thanks, Mr. Beck.
Just be careful, Peter. Don't go losing your rag.
Well, look at this. Look what they've done.
Nasty. How did that happen?
I was trying to get past that generator. There's one of their cars parked there. There was that much room. No one to guide me out, of course. There never is when you want them.
You should have reported it.
Oh, that's the point. It's done now. Time I've spent on her. And the money.
A lad of your age, you ought to find some nice girl to spend your money on.
I did. She got bored. Just hang on! You kept me waiting long enough. You hang on a bit.
You'll get yourself in trouble.
Poor old Joe, though.
What's poor about him?
Well, having to drag all the way over to the other end of town to get his washing done. It's sort of undignified.
You're spoilt, George. You men are all the same. You've all been mollycoddled. You wouldn't say it was undignified if a woman had to do it, would you?
Ah, well, that's different.
How different is it? You mean it'd be perfectly all right if you saw me slogging over to the laundrette on my day off? You wouldn't think twice about that?
No, I think you're being a bit unfair there. I think I would.
No, you wouldn't.
All I said was poor old Joe.
And all I'm saying is that there are thousands of women who do what he does, have a full-time job and run a home. Some even manage to hold down extremely responsible jobs and work extremely long hours, somehow.
What did I say?
Do you think perhaps a strain's beginning to tell, Sarge?
What?
Mr. Darby's absence.
Ah, well, perhaps you're right. So, what are we supposed to do about it?
I don't know. I mean, speaking personally, I'm willing to do all I can, of course. Between you and me, Sarge, right none but young for her.
Don't be impertinent.
Maybe I should go around and ask if I can use a washing machine.
I was talking about helping her, Joe, not taking advantage of her amenities.
I wouldn't dream of taking advantage of her amenities. I was just thinking of giving her a bit of company, that's all. Loneliness is a terrible thing, you know.
And, of course, it would help you with the problem of what to do now the laundrette's closed down.
It is a bit of a sweat, George, I admit that. I used to be able to just pop across the road.
Do you mind if I have another one?
Seeing as you bought it now.
Heck's that?
No idea.
Come on, Joe. Come on. Excuse me.
What is it? What's the matter?
It's all right, love. I'm a police officer, friend of Sergeant Beck's. Joe.
Oh, Mr. Beck, it's you.
Evening, Mrs. Bull. Did you hear a noise, love?
Did I? I'll say I did. From in there.
I'll go and take a look.
Do you hear that? I just got him off to sleep. There was this terrible banging right next to his room. It's bad enough in the day. You think they'd stop at night?
Yeah, well, you get back inside, love.
Well, I'll never get him off now. I know I won't.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Anyway, we'll see it doesn't happen again. You all right, George?
Oh, God. All right, I'm coming.
Made a thorough job of it, didn't they?
Why couldn't it happen in your street?
Kids, you reckon?
Could be. Anyway, there's not much damage done.
How did they get in?
Like we did, I should think. Found a bit of damaged hoarding and climbed in. The windows aren't in yet, so there's no problem.
So you didn't disturb anyone?
No, ma'am.
Didn't see anyone at all or hear anyone going?
No. I mean, apart from a neighbour who came out because of the noise, it was totally silent by the time we got there.
And how quickly did you get there, Joseph?
Well, we were off duty, relaxing like. We weren't expecting anything.
You mean you poured yourself a couple of drinks first, had a few jokes before you went to look?
No, I don't mean that at all.
Well, we shall have to keep our eye on the place.
Yeah, I'll fix that up right away, ma'am.
Why they want to build an office block in a place like that, I can't imagine.
It's cheap, I suppose. Anyway, it's not just offices. The bottom part's going to be what they call a fast food store.
What, hamburgers, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll be nice, wouldn't it? We could do with something like that round here. Be a useful amenity. Liven the place up a bit.
That's what some of us fear, ma'am.
That means we're slap bang on target again, doesn't it?
Aye, we're going great guns now, Mr. Rennick.
Oh, I'm relieved to hear that. I mean, that means there's going to be no problems over that completion day, doesn't it?
I hope not, no.
Aye, so do I, because if there had been, well, we'd have been in dead trouble, that's all. But then you know that, don't you?
I'm aware of that, yeah.
Aye, of course you are. You know, I've got every faith in you, Ken, lad.
There is one thing.
Aye?
We had a spot of bother last night. Some kids broke in.
Kids?
But don't worry. It won't happen again. I rang up the glazier first thing. He'll be starting Monday week.
Well, what the heck's use that? Sticking a few panes of glass in?
I don't see what else we can do. Unless we get a security firm in.
We cannot afford that. Look, I pay you good money to manage this side, don't I?
I'm sorry, I don't see what else we can do.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do. If there's any more of these Beckins in, you can put up a bed and you can stop here until you've got it sorted out and caught 'em. That's what I used to do, you know, when I started out. And believe me, that's the only thing that works, the only thing. Well, I realise I'm asking a lot, Inspector. I know how busy and overworked you must all be.
Not at all, Mr. Rennick. Vandalism is vandalism, and twice in 2 nights is twice too many.
You know, that's taking a great load off my mind.
However, if you could make sure that your site's as secure as possible, that would help.
Oh, I will. Indeed, I will. I suppose it's small beer for you, isn't it? A wash basin one night and the upstairs fittings the next. But you see, it's all the time and the money.
You have every right to have your property protected.
The fact is, our completion date's only 6 weeks off. We've had a hell of a time with this job already. I mean, we live in hand-to-mouth, you know. I mean, if we end up having to pay penalty payments on top of everything, well, I mean... Well, we can't, that's all. The bank think I'm overspending as it is. They're already threatening to call in the loan, and there's no way they're going to lend me another penny. I don't know what you're expected to do.
Still, I'm sure when your fast food shop opens...
Oh, it isn't mine. I wish it were. I wish to hell I was in a business like that. No, I'm just the poor mug who built the damn thing. Somebody else will make all profit. You know, things are so bad at the minute that I wouldn't tell that to just anybody, you know, but I've built this business up. I've built this whole business up right from scratch. I've met sacrifices you wouldn't believe. And there's no way I'm going to see it ruined. There's no way I'm going to see my whole life ruined just for... Well, not for nobody. You do see what I mean, don't you?
What's wrong with hamburgers?
Nothing's wrong with them if you like that sort of thing.
I love them.
Personally, I prefer making my own fast food. I call it scrambled egg on toast, and it takes me 3 minutes.
Joseph, are you planning on being at home tonight?
Yes, Mum, I think so.
Good, excellent. I'd like you to keep an eye open for any intruders on that building site, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course, Mum. I'm only sorry I was out last night.
Just try not to fall asleep in front of the television, all right? And it might be an idea if Peter keeps observation. What do you think?
Excellent idea, Mum.
How long for, Mum?
Well, we're still assuming it's kids, aren't we? Pack up about 10 o'clock. That should be quite late enough.
Caught 'em then, have you?
I've had my ears open.
Cup of tea?
Coffee, please. Black with no sugar. Keep me on my toes.
Tea with 2 sugars, and be grateful.
So...
Evening, Ernie.
Joe? You don't think it's a bit conspicuous, Sarge?
What?
Announcing our presence like that.
You're not saying Ernie Waitman did it, my next-door neighbour at his age?
I'm not saying he did it, no. I'm just saying you can't rule anyone out, can you? I mean, look at the mess they're making of his street.
It's my street, too.
Aye, well, exactly. Both got motives, haven't you?
Listen, be careful what you say. Be very careful.
It's true, though.
Look, there's 50 houses in my street. We've all got motives if it comes to that.
Exactly.
Don't keep saying that.
All I'm saying is you can't rule any...
well, I think I'll be getting back.
Sarge!
Anything else you want me for, Mum?
No, George, you go off home. Forget about this place for a few hours. Oh, sounds like a wonderful idea to me. Remind your children who their father is.
Oh, they know he is all right. He's the bad-tempered one, always wants him in bed as soon as he gets in.
Sure that's not true, George. I bet you're a right softy. Go on, aren't you?
Well, that's what the wife always says.
Good night.
There was something else I wanted to ask, as a matter of fact. We were wondering, the wife and I, if you'd like to come round for supper some night.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to. Which night?
Well, whatever suits you. Next week sometime.
Well, at a guess, I should say there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
What about Sunday?
And Sunday, yes. Funny, for some reason my diary isn't exactly packed at the moment.
Sunday, then.
Good. I'll see the boys, will I?
If you like.
Of course I'd like. Good heavens.
Well, it's up to you, of course, but we were thinking of it more as a civilised, grown-up evening. Lock the animals in their cages, you know, so we could actually talk to each other, that sort of thing. Trouble is, you see, they're at that difficult age.
I thought they were all different ages.
Oh, aye, but it's a difficult period, you know.
No, I don't.
Between the ages of 1 and 18. Still, they tell me it gets better.
Go home, George, at once.
I don't.
Waste of time, not a sign of anyone.
You know, I've been thinking on this question of motives.
I was thinking about that myself. I'm sure I'm wrong, Sarge. I'd be mad to think they could get away with it.
No, you see, the thing is, old Ernie has got a motive, in a way.
What sort of motive?
If you'll let me finish.
Sorry.
Him and his wife, they're a bit of a strange couple. They moved here about 3 years ago. I mean, they're friendly enough, but they keep themselves to themselves.
I don't see.
Listen. The thing is, when they heard the laundrette was going to be knocked down, they went mad. Not because it was the laundrette, they hated that. It was the building, you see. It was Victorian or something. Anyway, they thought it had character.
Yeah, I remember it. It were a wreck.
Yeah, well, they didn't think so. And you should have seen the way they went at it. Right into the local paper. They even got in touch with, what was it, the Victorian Society. Did you know there was a Victorian Society?
In Hartley?
No, not in Hartley, no. Anyway, they did the damnedest. But it didn't do them any good in the end, none at all.
So?
So there's your motive.
Where? I don't see.
Resentment, frustration, call it what you like, simmering away all the time, then suddenly bursting out.
Oh, that old man you said hello to.
Happens all the time, the quiet ones. Suddenly snapping, deciding they've had enough.
Like cripping, you mean?
A bit like cripping, aye. Not a lot, but a bit. Evening.
Evening, Joe.
You were out late.
I've been posting my pools coupon. Always post it Wednesday.
That a fact?
Aye, never miss.
You might as well have waited till morning. Last post went ages ago.
I know, it's working late. Puts me routine right out. Still, I like to think it's on its way. All I've got to do now is wait till the cheque arrives.
That's right. So how long have you been waiting so far?
Oh, 20 years. Or is it 25? Still, it'll come one day.
I'm sure it will.
Night then, Joe.
Night, Ernie.
Someone deserves locking up.
What's happened?
They've only emptied half a dozen bags of cement all over the floor. It'll be rock solid by now. It's like a furnace in there.
Just calm down.
They turned the central heating on. It's incredible. You know what they've done? They've stuck little holes, like pinpricks, all along the pipes. We found it just now. All the water's set the cement. It'll take hours to chip it off.
Doesn't sound like kids, does it?
Who knows nowadays? He'll have my guts for garters, Mr. Rennick will. I thought you lot were meant to be keeping watch last night.
Aye, we were.
Well, what happened then?
If you don't mind, ma'am, I'd like to chase this up myself.
Why's that, Joseph?
Because it happened in my street, because I know the people in it. I could likely get more out of them than anyone else could.
What if it turns out to be an old friend, someone you go drinking with?
I don't drink with anyone from our street, ma'am.
You know what I mean?
All right, I'll be frank with you. I think somebody's trying to make a monkey out of me. I want to get to the bottom of it.
I'm sorry, Joseph. I think you're getting too close to it. It'd be better if I put George onto it.
I think that might be a mistake, ma'am.
Yes, of course you do. Anyway, you can tell all your suspicions to George. I'm sure he'll welcome them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't know what she thinks she's playing at. I call it ridiculous. Well, I ask you, don't you?
What's ridiculous, Joseph?
Nothing, ma'am.
Good. Get hold of CID for me, will you? I don't know where they are at the moment. Tell them I want the damage on the site photographed and I want it fingerprinting.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to have another chat with Mr. Rennick. You never know. Might even have some ideas for us.
CID.
Let's do what the lady says.
Fat lot of fingerprints you'll get from a pile of cement.
Hartley Police. Oh, Tom. No, I'm afraid she's just gone out. Yes, of course I'll tell her. Any message? No, that's fine, I'll do that. Bye for now. Mr. Darbley. Touching, I call that. Falling all that way in the middle of the day. Just for a chat.
Probably had a row.
You've got no heart, have you? No sense of romance. You'll never make sergeant, you know, without a sense of romance. See you later.
Well, it's a disaster, isn't it? It's a real disaster. But it's what I said, I knew it'd happen.
How did you know?
Well, it's life, isn't it? I mean, you put your heart and soul into some of everything you've got, and that's when they come along. And they whip it away right from under your feet.
Well, it's not such a major disaster. 3 acts of vandalism, 2 of them minor. We must just make sure there isn't a 4th and catch whoever's doing it.
Are you married? You are, you?
Yes, I am. But
Aye, so would I. Once upon a time. Very happily married, I thought. I worked at it. Hard. And then some damp smoothie came along and took her off just like that. That's when I came over here and started up this business. Oh, they all said I was damn crackers back home, you know. Jacking in a nice, secure job, eh? Starting up on my own, my time, lad. But I didn't care. I put the hours in, you know. I'm not afraid of hard work. Hard work never killed nobody. And that's when it starts going good for you. But that's also when you've got to be very, very careful. You mustn't start caring, you see. Because they're up there. All time, waiting, watching, ready to pounce. I think they like watching us squirm. You think I'm daft, don't you? I can see you do. I'm not, you know.
About this petition of yours, Mr. Wakeman.
It was Dorothy's idea originally. We got quite a few signatures. Well, it was a beautiful building, you see.
Well, I wouldn't have called it beautiful exactly.
Well, it could have been if some money had been spent on it. Instead of knocking it down for some modern monstrosity. What's the point in that?
Some people call it progress, I suppose.
Hey, look, would you mind putting one of them little coasters underneath? It's not me, it's Dorothy. I mean, the thing is, it was listed, officially listed. That means something.
Really?
Well, it didn't mean so much to me either, not till we went into it. But the Victorian Society was very keen to take it up. They said it had townscape importance.
Townscape?
Importance. Means it gave the place a bit of character. Quite right, too, it did.
So then you and this Victorian Society complained to the council?
To the planning committee. It was a great help, it being listed. They couldn't ignore that. We almost had them then, you know. It was a great feeling. And then, I don't know, it slipped through our fingers somehow.
Still feel bad about it, do you?
Why not? I've a right to feel the way I like, haven't I?
Oh, of course, I didn't mean...
I know what you mean, don't worry. But if you think I've been shinning over walls at my age, pouring cement everywhere, well, you're dafter than I thought.
Don't think I mentioned cement.
You what? You're not serious. Somebody told me. I don't know. Joe, I think it was. Ah, that's right, it was Joe, this morning.
Well, we have to check these things.
And I'll tell you one thing. I mean, personally, I hope you never find these vandals. All power to them, that's what I say.
That's not a very helpful attitude, Mr. Wakeman.
I'll go further. I hope they blow the place up. Oh, I do. Do you know what they're going to do? They're going to open a what-you-call-it and sell hamburgers.
Yes, I had heard.
I know what that'll lead to. There'll be motorbikes revving up and down the road, empty boxes and bags thrown everywhere. It'll be hell round here. Just like Blackpool.
Don't think it'll be quite like Blackpool.
All right, you can laugh if you want. Well, all I can say is I'm glad if we've caused them a bit of trouble, because they're going to cause us a hell of a lot more than we've caused them.
Any road about the place. I mean, I got it at a knockdown price. Like I said, it was a wreck.
I remember.
There was only one problem, Tyler. One possible problem, as I could see. You see, I'd already got one site underway, so I knew I was going to be a bit stretched starting another. I mean, we're only a small firm, you know. But then, I pre-let the ground floor.
To the fast food people.
Aye. I mean, I wouldn't have got the load otherwise. And then I thought, well, you can't lose now, can you? You've cracked it, lad. You can't possibly lose. I mean, I didn't think there was going to be any problem with the planning permission. And there wouldn't have been if I hadn't suddenly found the whole conservationist, environmentalist, you name it, lobby right on my back. Do you know how long it took me to get that lot off? 3 months, 3 whole months. We interest at God knows what %. Fortunately, I do have a few mates on the planning committee. You know, blokes with a bit of common sense. I mean, they actually realised I was going to be providing jobs, you know, work. Folk forget that, don't they?
So you finally got it through, and then what happened?
Well, it's been one long battle, hasn't it? Trying to meet the completion date, trying to catch up. And then, last month, well, that's when I should have packed it all in, you know. I can see that now. They was giving me a fair warning. I'll give them that.
This was before the vandalism?
Aye. Upstairs. There's a nice little suite of offices. Yeah. Very nice, that. A bit pricey. Still, a few years ago, you know, that lot would have gone just like that. But now... well, put it this way, I was dead chuffed to get rid of them. I really was. Firm of accountants. They took the time making up their mind, but when they did, they signed on the dotted line, they put down a nice deposit that couldn't have been nicer. Great relief to all concerned, me mainly.
And?
They pulled out last month.
Can they do that?
A bit hard to stop them if they haven't got the brass, isn't it? I mean, a firm of accountants, eh? You'd think they'd know, wouldn't you? So you see, I'm right up the creek. Without all this. You know, I can just about pay the men. Just about. There's no way I can pay me bills. Or the subcontractors, no way at all.
Last night?
I just wondered, you be in the nearest house.
No, not a thing.
What about the night before?
Night before. I heard that.
You did?
That's what I said.
Well, you didn't tell us. You didn't phone us or anything.
That's right.
Why was that then?
Because I haven't got a phone, have I? I can't just go out and leave the kids. It's against the law, or didn't you know that?
What about your husband?
What about him?
Couldn't he have gone?
Not really. He's in Hartlepool. He moved out 6 months ago. Said it was too much for his nerves. He couldn't stand it.
The building?
No, the kids. 3 under 5. Oh, and before you ask, it's all right, the other two are up the street. I haven't done them in or anything. Not yet, anyway.
Well, I'm sorry about your husband. But it would help if you could tell us if you hear or see of anything again. I mean, you could always pop across to Sergeant Beck. I don't think we'd have the law on you for that.
And what's in it for me if I do? I don't suppose they'll stop the banging and the drilling and the hammering. Not just for me.
They've got to finish it, haven't they? You can't just leave it half-built, you can see that.
All I see is we're all out for number 1. No one gives a monkeys about me, so why should I give them monkeys about them? You know, I reckon they wait. They really do. So I've got him settled. And they start.
Still, all be finished soon. A couple of months, they'll all be gone.
I reckon they'll finish me before that.
The place is seething, Mum. It's a hotbed of resentment. I mean, at one point, I'd almost decided they'd all got together to do it.
What did you decide in the end?
Well, there's one or two of them capable of it, yes. Trouble is, you can't help sympathising with them in a way.
That doesn't mean you're sympathising with the vandals, too.
No, of course not.
Good. Now, there's something else. Something Rennick said. I might be wrong, but it struck me we could be barking up the wrong tree altogether.
What, you mean it isn't anyone living in the area?
I don't know. I'm just raising possibilities. I certainly don't think it's kids, not after last night. Rennick's in a state of acute anxiety. He's on the verge of going bust. And he said something about not being able to pay his subcontractors. He hasn't been able to pay for a few weeks. Now, if we're looking for a motive, that's a pretty good one, isn't it?
What, not getting paid?
Well, I think I'd feel pretty aggrieved if I wasn't paid for the work I'd put in here, wouldn't you be?
Maybe, but I wouldn't start smashing up the police station.
It's a possibility, though.
So what about Rennick himself? If he's going broke, like you say, could be he's done it himself. He could claim on the insurance, after all.
Check it out, George, what sort of insurance he's got. And get a list from him of everyone he hasn't paid. Subcontractors, suppliers, the lot, first thing in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want an all-night observation kept on that site from tonight. And don't use Sims this time. Get a fresh face.
Right. Oh, your husband phoned earlier, and you were out.
Did he say what he wanted?
No, but he rang at peak rates, so I thought it might be important.
I doubt it. Probably at the taxpayer's expense.
Pardon?
Nothing. Oh, Tom? Oh, you're in love. Well, I'm surprised, that's all. Thought you had better things to do of an evening. It's not meant to sound like sour grapes, no. No, I'm fine. So, what was the purpose of your peak hour phone call? George Parish was fascinated. I hope the college wasn't paying. Sunday? Oh, yeah. But I thought you said... You're not fed up, are you? Oh, no, that'd be lovely. Oh, there is just one thing. If you're planning to stop overnight, because I'm going out Sunday evening. Oh, well, for dinner, as a matter of fact. With someone? Well, yes, of course. It's not much fun otherwise, is it? Never you mind who with. Look, I thought we trusted each other.
There's that fella Rennick sitting outside in his car and he's drinking. And there's another car parked across the street with a young couple in it. Hang on a minute.
Listen, Joe, about that car. Joe?
Hey! You! Get...
Get out.
What?
I'm a police officer and you're drunk. I'm having you for drunken driving.
See which way you went, eh? I'm a police officer.
It's funny, so am I.
There he is.
So, you didn't smash the wash basin?
No.
Or the toilet?
No.
And you didn't throw cement over everything either?
Right.
But you do admit to throwing a few bricks?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? I mean, I wouldn't want you saying I was putting pressure on you. What's 5 witnesses, after all? One to deny the lot.
I threw the bricks. That's all I did.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? You turning up on the 4th night when there've been incidents on the other 3.
Oh, I can't help that.
Look, you're just wasting time.
Well, what do you expect me to do? I didn't do it. That's the truth.
Look at it from where I'm standing. We know quite a bit about you. Oh, you got a bit of a temper for a start. Have a nasty habit of threatening people.
Oh, well, you got it all worked out then, haven't you? Young bloke, loses his temper a bit. It's logical. Cop him for the lot. Only trouble is, I'm saying nothing. Except you're balmy. So, what are you going to do now?
Why do these things always happen when I'm just settling down to a good programme on the telly?
Murphy's second law of motion, ma'am.
I think it is. What's the matter, Joseph?
Can I have a word, ma'am?
I suppose so. Where's our culprit?
Talking to Sergeant Palish, ma'am.
Mr. Rennick?
Seems to be well over the limit to me, ma'am. He's been seen by the doctor.
First offence?
Second, says he wants a word waiting for you.
All right, Joseph, come on. You saw it all, then?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not putting in for overtime, I hope?
No, it's not that.
Right, then. Out with it.
It's just... Well, I think I ought to have been told, ma'am, about tonight.
Tonight, I'm not with you.
It's one thing putting George Parish onto this instead of me. I can see your reasoning there. But I think I have a right to know what's going on. I mean, in my own street and all. I don't think that's too much to ask.
You mean you didn't know that we're having the place watched?
No, I didn't. Nobody told me. I thought they were just an ordinary courting couple. Could have been extremely embarrassing for them as well as for me. Not only that, I nearly went out and had a word with them, which would have given the whole game away, so... Well, I think I ought to have been told, ma'am, that's all.
You're right. Cock up in the works, Joseph. Failure of communication. I'm sorry.
Well, that's good of you, ma'am.
It was getting difficult to use our own people in case they were recognised, so we dragooned a couple of coppers over from the Broughton section, on loan from Inspector Foster.
Yeah, I gathered something of the sort. Anyway, from my observation, they seem to be enjoying themselves.
Don't think I wish to know that, Joseph.
No, of course not.
However, I do wish to know about this lad we've got in, this neighbour of yours. Now, today's not the first time this car's been damaged, is it?
No, it's not. But it seems he'd just come back from the garage. They told him how much it was going to cost. He was thinking he might have to get rid of it. That's what did it, I'd say, Mum.
Which would explain why he chucked the bricks. But does it explain the break-ins?
I wouldn't say he's the malicious type, if that's what you mean.
Those two coppers, are they still on observation?
No, they didn't see much point.
Well, then get someone out there, Joseph. Anyone but now.
I could go myself, Mum.
Yes, right. Yeah. Yes, I'll speak to Inspector Foster. Put him through. Hello, Bill. You must be telepathic. We're just talking about you. How are your two lovebirds? What?
That's been banned for 3 years. Do you know that?
Yes, I do, sir.
It's the end, this is.
So it comes with drinking and driving, I'm afraid.
I was doing a U-turn. That's all. That's hardly driving, is it, a U-turn? I wouldn't hardly call that driving at all.
Peter.
Oh.
Yes, in a
Inspector,
minute,
could-
Mr. Rennick. Sergeant Parrish still with that young lad?
Yes, ma'am, we just took him in a cup of tea. But I don't think he's getting very far.
Let's go over it again, shall we?
Sergeant.
He's as stubborn as a mule. He says he knows nothing about the other nights, just tonight. I can't get him to budge an inch. If you'd like to have a go, Mum.
No, that won't be necessary. I've just had a word with Inspector Foster. His lads took in a bloke tonight, caught him red-handed smashing up a new chemist's shop. He's asked for 4 other offences to be taken into account. One of them is our little building site.
Can't be.
Oh, can't it? That's what I'm going to find out. But hold your horses, George, in the meantime. We don't want that young man confessing to things he had nothing to do with, do we?
Oh, well.
Right, Mr. Rennick. Would you like to follow me?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Inspector. Thank you. It's very kind of you to spare me your time.
Not kind at all. I want to ask you some questions.
Me? Oh?
Now, Mr. Rennick, I want you to think very carefully. Do you remember employing a man called Baker, Harry Baker, at any time?
Harry Baker? Why, of course I do. Why?
How long was this for?
Oh, well, a couple of months. I mean, I'd have to check. He did a lot of work for us. He's a plumber. What for?
Good man, is he good at his work?
Well, yeah. I mean, I had no complaints, as I can recall. Why? What's all this about?
And for how much of this time did you manage to pay him, if at all?
Oh, of course I paid him. Well, for first month. After that, like I said, it was... Harry Baker. Is that who did it? It is, isn't it? Well, of all the rotten...
It works both ways, I should have thought. I doubt if Mr. Baker has many kind words for you.
Oh, come on. What else could I do? I mean, I didn't have the money. It's as simple as that.
I gather Mr. Baker's heard that from quite a few customers recently.
Look, I don't know all about that. But, I mean, it's no excuse for busting up the property, well, is it?
No, of course it's not, and he'll be prosecuted.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. Personally, I hope they send him to the tower. I'd have squared up with him as soon as I got stuff sorted out. Of course I would.
It's a bit late for that, I'm afraid. Harry Baker went bust last week. His business collapsed on account of what I believe they call cash flow, or rather, the lack of it.
I see. I didn't know.
No, of course you didn't. And as you said, that is no excuse to go smashing up other people's property. Is it?
Right. Right. You know, I had no idea. Well, I mean, you don't, do you? I mean, you get so wrapped up in your own stuff that you don't think other folk have got... Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, What are we all doing? I mean, we're all out there flogging his guts out. I mean, what for? Just to survive, I suppose.
Now, about that word you wanted with me.
No, forget it. Thanks for your help. Can I go now?
Oh, Tom! I'm sorry, love. I know it's late. I didn't mean to get you up. Nothing. Just felt like a talk, that's all. End of the day feeling, you know? We've always talked at the end of the day. I miss you too.
Next on Drama, we catch up with London's finest police. The good folk of Sun Hill are on the beat. In the bill.
Is an additional train to Glasgow, calling at Lancaster, Oxenholme, Penrith, Carlisle, Carstairs and Glasgow Central.
I'm Sergeant Cole.
Constable Bentley, Sergeant. I'm to drive you. You've brought a touch of the nasties with you, Sergeant. It's been fine these last 4 or 5 days. Then this morning, not only this wind, but this rotten rain. Mind you, it's bad enough there's been no game these last 4 weeks at Grange Park.
Constable, if you're going to be my driver, drive.
Sergeant.
Where are we going first?
Well, I thought we'd go to the Nick first.
Did you?
Sir.
Go to the murder scene.
Sergeant. Nice to see a bit of sunshine, isn't it, Sarge?
I'll not be sorry to see the back of this job, I can tell you.
Ah, you're not kidding.
Get your skates on. Some of us want some dinner.
Not be long now, Sarge.
That's where he finished up.
Sarge, this is Detective Sergeant Cole from London.
Derek Godwin, we were told you were on your way.
Where's the body?
In the morgue.
Search team finished?
Yes.
Did they find anything?
No, nothing.
Bullet case?
Nothing.
He was ditched after he was shot, sir.
How much of his face was there?
What's that, sir?
45 caliber bullet.
Was he shot close range with half his head off, or was he dropped from 20 yards?
He was dropped, sir, I'd say, sir.
How many trippers have been here?
The whole circus.
Who?
12-man search team, detective chief super, forensic liaison officer, doctor, pathologist, fingerprints, and photographer. He was killed here, sir.
You tell your boss it'll be another hour.
Sir.
Mostly farms around here?
More than farms.
7189 to Hartley.
Go ahead, 7189.
Yeah, we'll be back at the station in about an hour. Yeah, and could you give a message to Sergeant Beck, please, Sergeant Parish? Message reads, "We've got a right one here," unquote.
Message understood.
Exhibits officer?
Detective Sergeant Howlett.
Detective Sergeant Cole. I identified this man as Arthur S. Roberts on 14 St. John's Terrace, London, SE 15. Is there anything to sign?
At the station.
Can I look at these shoes?
The bag's sealed and tagged. I'm the exhibits officer, and it stays sealed and tagged until opened by forensic.
May I take the bag over to the window and look through it to the shoes?
You may.
Now your station.
Sir.
I've made a list of my priorities.
I've got a section to run, sir. That doesn't stop because the circuit is in town.
4 teams, background inquiries, follow-up inquiries, Robert's activities in the town, re-interviews. And we need 16 men. All I can put in immediately is 12. You'll have to find 4.
You can have my CID, 2, 1 DS and 1 DC.
You're not exactly extending yourself.
You get my entire nick at your disposal.
I view your generous offer of men and facilities as something we have to continue negotiations over.
You sound like a TUC, sir.
I need an operation the size of the TUC.
Inspector Darbley. Sergeant Cole from London.
Let's have him.
Send him in, please. What do you want me to do with this sergeant from London, sir? Accommodation? Catering? What?
He's come up to identify the body. Do me a favour. Keep him out from under our feet.
Come in!
Detective Sergeant Cole, Flying Squad.
Good morning. Inspector Jean Darbley, in charge of this section. I'm Detective Superintendent Brunskill, Senior Investigating Officer. Have you identified the body?
Yes, in the mortuary.
Why do you make the point in the mortuary?
I would have very much liked to have seen the body in situ.
We've got everything we wanted from the site.
You've seen the murder scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Our belief is he was shot locally, then moved to the quarry. If he'd been shot where he was found, we'd have expected more blood near to the body.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what can we do for you, Sergeant? You've identified the body. You can assist us, is this right, with information about the deceased?
Well, I have the relevant permissions to remain here for as long as I can make a useful contribution.
We'll see how we can fit you in.
Thank you.
Well, I've got called to parade now. About a dozen have just joined us. Perhaps you'd care to address them on the subject of the deceased?
Yes, I'd like to.
In one of the dead man's pockets, book matches printed with the Bell Inn address. The Bell Inn, Ainsley Road. We checked the deceased's description at the Bell Inn. It fitted a guest, Arthur Roberts. Turns out he'd registered in his correct London address. We put his name to the CRO. On his record was noted a police contact name, a Detective Sergeant Cole. Go ahead, Sergeant Cole.
Arthur Roberts was a snout of mine for many years. He was a highly intelligent man. At 60, when most villains are punch-drunk with stir, he was at the height of his powers. He was a snout to me. That is, he gave me information about firms he didn't like. But his real occupation was as a black draftsman. A planner of robberies. We know he planned 6 major bank robberies in London in the last 5 years. He may have planned 16. He was good enough to work that percentage and get away with it. If he came here, he had a good reason to do so. We have to find that reason, because that's what will lead us to his killer. I'm sure of it.
Thank you, Sergeant. Roberts arrived on the London Connection train 11:45 a.m. 2 days ago, Monday. Checked into room at the Bell Inn. Landlady says he didn't sleep there the first night. Bedclothes, not rumpled. Made up his sleep the following day. That takes us to last night. Didn't sleep, went out. We assume he was shot in the early hours of this morning. Now, who did he see? Who did he speak to? So far, we gather he spoke to no one. We've no idea where he spent that first night. He didn't hire a car from the local outlets. He didn't take one of the local taxis. So, he spent the first night within walking distance of the Bell Inn.
Or someone picked him up.
Or someone picked him up. Today's work. He went somewhere in those 2 days. Pubs, drinking clubs, a dozen in the town. Check 'em. 3 teams. 2 will concentrate on Robert's activities in the town. 1 on background inquiries to liaise with Sergeant Cole. Sergeant Brown and Sergeant Forbes will sort the teams. Let's have some results by day's end, all right?
That old corn mill is the start of the Industrial Revolution. Bit of a contrast to the industrial estate we've had built up now. Some of that was the first of its kind in England. But this bit here is brand new. Around here we had 40 years warning of slumpflation. When the mills started to close, we had to find new industries. High profits, low manning ones.
Tough.
We're both suffering from a little social leprosy at the moment. You know you're not really wanted. We get a murder once in a blue moon. We don't want some smart aleck outsider barging in, subtracting the kudos, maybe even solving it.
Just as long as it gets solved. How are you a social leper?
I don't want my men and my Nick steamrolled flat by this murder squad circus. Can I do anything for you?
I'd like to keep the Boy Scout who met me at the station.
Are you sure I couldn't call HQ for a Range Rover? They've got 6 in traffic. We've walked nearly 3 miles, Sarge. You've not said why.
That's his farm. What kind of a farm?
Sheep, mostly. Like most of them round here on the moors. Not a big place. Can we stop for a fag, Sarge?
I don't smoke.
can't go on any further, Sarge.
Robert, 60 years old, left the Bell Inn on Monday night. I wanted to see how far he could have walked. I keep myself fit. Let's say you're at least as fit as Roberts. Let's say he walked in a 3-mile radius from the Bell Inn.
Why'd you say he walked? He could have been picked up by a car.
From what I could make out from my underprivileged look into a plastic bag, Robert's shoes had scrapes of lichen all over them. Lichen comes from walking through trees. He didn't stroll down the street and get into a car. He walked across country. That's the point.
There are plenty of trees over there, Sarge.
That's where we're going.
Who owns this? Old man Worley.
How long's he been here?
Born here.
All right, back to the station.
You worked anything out yet, Sarge?
Yes. You still talk too much.
Cole speaking. Hang on, Brian. You want to hear this?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
Gordon, Harris and I have been out in Morden. Roberts had a favourite pub there. He used to go there 2-3 times a week.
Yes.
Catterick Arms, den of iniquity. He was there Sunday night talking to a bloke called Tony Cantwell. Landlord knew him.
Cantwell.
Speciality, conversion of stolen cash into foreign currencies.
A bagman and a draftsman. How would they connect?
No thoughts. Cantwell's on suspicion for several jobs. 68 Bexley Heath Co-op, 70 Carrington Lock credit card fraud. Vague suspicion that he handled cash conversion on the Taylor security robbery.
Brian, see if you can get more on Cantwell. I think you should stay with that Morden scene.
Be in touch, Gordon.
Cheers, Brian.
Do you think he was up here planning a job?
I was waiting for that question from the senior investigating officer.
I was one of the first on the murder scene. That's less than half an hour after the farmhand discovered the body. Rigor hadn't set in. He still looked human. He was a small man, but strongly built. Could he throw his weight around?
He could and did.
So he could have come up here the aggressor and ended up the victim.
Yes.
I'd like to get a picture of the possibilities. The assumption is he was put down by some heavy mob with a 45, but it could be the other way around. Some terrified bloke killing in self-defense.
Yes.
Let's see if us two, the outsiders, can sort some of this out.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do for lunch, Gordon?
This is going to sound boring. I'm a vegetarian.
Coffee? Tea?
No, thanks, ma'am. I don't drink either.
How did you start the friendship with Roberts?
10 years back. He became a regular snout of mine. Oh, I only informed on people he didn't like. There were certain things I approved in him. He had a lot of suffering in his life. He found strength from it rather than his weaknesses. I know his son was killed in a motorbike crash. And he was a careful man. I like that. He knew one day I'd arrest him. That was the only game he played, pretending I wouldn't. It wouldn't happen. The rest was honest. We used to meet a couple of times a week in a pub on the Fulham Road. He told me about the books he was reading.
What kind of books?
Or biographies. But the lightweight stuff, Antonio Fraser. He had a nice house, Peckham. Had a small dog that looked like him, neat like him. It's not right that such a precise man should meet such an untidy death.
No.
Would you like some of this?
Thank you, no. I'll leave you to it.
Do you think we should tell the senior investigating officer about the phone call? Robert's movements?
No rush. How long can you stay?
3 or 4 days. Longer if I can produce something to the satisfaction of my bosses.
Not long.
I'll do it.
Seem very positive.
I'll find the reason Roberts came here. It's a small town.
It's a complicated one. It's a close community. Families that have known each other for generations. They're cool with strangers.
So am I.
I'm off now, ma'am, unless in the circumstances...
Thank you, Joseph, but in view of the day...
Ah, you know what day it is?
Yes, I heard. Joseph today celebrates 22 years on the force.
Today, I earned me silver handcuffs. 22 long ones. Drinks on me over the road, 6 o'clock. Can you come, ma'am?
Yeah.
Grand.
Does your invitation extend to Gordon here?
All right. Bring your own lettuce.
You will come.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I have Hartley Station to run, some social work to do. What are your plans?
Well, I'd like to be on the road with Bentley as soon as he's finished his lunch hour.
2 o'clock. I'll join you.
He wouldn't walk miles just to be picked up by a car. He walked to a house. Correction, a farm.
Approximately 20 farms on the ordnance within a 3-mile Hartley radius.
We're going to visit them all, ma'am.
Yeah. You feeling all right, Roland?
Yes, ma'am.
Roland here sometimes gets car sick.
Not often. And rarely when I'm driving.
Drive on.
Hello, Mr. Dillon.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
This is Inspector Darbley. That's Detective Sergeant Cole.
It was my great-great-grandfather hung for sheep stealing. I'm honest, I tell you.
Inspector Darbley's in charge of Hartley.
Aye, I've heard about you, missus.
Mr. Cole here comes from London.
Is that right?
All the way up to ask some questions.
Anything you want to know?
Last Monday, this man, did you see him?
No. Is he local?
No.
Well, last Monday, did you see or hear anything out of the ordinary? Trucks, cars passing that weren't local?
What time?
Around about midnight.
Oh, no. I'm in bed 9:30. My head's on that pillar. I'm up at 4:30 every morning, you know.
I see. Well, thank you.
Hey, there was something. Last Monday night. I'm one of those unfortunates. If I get woke up, I've the dickens of a job getting back to Kip again. And it happened on Monday night.
What happened?
A boat on the canal woke me up.
What canal?
There's a canal down there behind them trees. Boats go on it.
What time did you wake up?
About midnight.
A boat at midnight?
Up there at Pollett's Farm, they've got 2 caravans. They let them out in summer with a little hardboard motorboat. Sounded like that.
This isn't summer, Mr. Dillon.
Look, if that boat's going up that canal, it's got to stop at Pollett's Farm. Canal's blocked off down there.
Have you ever heard a boat before on the canal at midnight?
Not as I can recall. Unless it had a light on it.
Did you see a light on the canal?
I was in bed. I wasn't looking at canal. I wasn't looking at wife either.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. We'll check that out.
Pleasure. If you want to know anything, you know where I am.
Thanks, Arthur.
Who owns Pollett's Farm?
Pollett's Farm? Mr. Garland. He's one of them property speculators.
Is he from round here?
Originally. Not any longer, though.
Why not?
He lives in Norwich.
Well, there's certainly no one living here. Fresh. Look at that.
Sleeping bags.
Primer stove, portable radio, tea-making stuff.
Hippies? Squatters?
Hippies and squatters wouldn't con a milkman into delivering milk. National car park ticket. Dated 4 days ago.
Obviously some visitors from the smoke.
What do you think?
Someone's coming back. We need a watch mounted.
Roland, you stay here. I'll get some others out to join you.
What about me tea? I'm due me refreshments in 20 minutes. You'll let them know I'm here, won't you?
We won't forget you, Roland. Come in.
Some files you wanted, Mum.
Is that all? Hold on.
Cole speaking. Hang on, Brian. Go ahead.
Your Mr. Garland's an interesting man. Also known as Harold Durran, George Pettit, form on all names. Villain, runs a restaurant in Soho, then turns up with money, buys Pollitt's farm, and rents a big house in Norwich.
Who's telling you?
Maitre d' at restaurant, no great admirer of the boss. Garland paid £130,000 for Pollitt's farm in November 1973.
November 1973?
Right.
The Taylor Securities job.
October, £200,000.
That 70,000 for Cantwell to change the hot securities, 130,000.
Cantwell seen in pub with Roberts, unproven connection to the Taylor security robbery.
That could be it. I'll be in touch, Brian.
Right, Gordon.
What about this? October 1973. Roberts, Cantwell, Garland pulled the Taylor Securities job. Roberts plans the robbery. Cantwell converts the hot securities into cash. Garland buys the farm with the proceeds. The idea to sit on the investment and wait. They wait 6 years. The farm sold prior to auction.
Roberts comes up to collect his share.
An argument over it. A shooting.
Now we've got some facts. We'll pass them to the senior investigating officer.
Yes. We'll have to.
You lot always have to create the stir, don't you? You can't leave anything to us bloody stupid provincial.
That's enough, Joseph.
One small protest in 22 years. Don't you think I'm entitled to just one? Please give me your answer to that, ma'am, after I've made an urgent call. All right, everybody.
I assure you it is once in a lifetime. Hard to know whether to celebrate 22 years in the force or hate it.
Yes. Will you excuse me a minute, ma'am? Don't you ever do that again. I'll go to the Nick and pick up my things. And then I'll go straight to the farm.
I'll give you a lift if you like.
No. That's not necessary.
He's an odd one.
He speaks his mind. He's okay. Sergeant Cole here.
In the locker room, ma'am.
Give me 2 minutes. Do you have transport from the inn to the farm?
Mr. Runskill's laying it on.
You're Rook with Sergeant Beck.
Not important.
I told you it was once in a lifetime.
I understood.
Maybe you should bend a little, Gordon.
Oh, I don't know about that, ma'am.
Why not?
I get my results by being a little harder than the villains. That's why I catch them.
You were happy, ma'am.
It's what I know, ma'am, and what I do. Knowing I do it well, that's what makes sense of it.
You make your entire life the job.
Is there another way?
There has to be.
You're talking about degrees of compromise.
I'm talking about sanity.
Ooh, that could be a luxury for some of us.
You're saying that seriously? Sanity is a luxury.
Sanity is something we define within the purpose of our lives. You compromise that purpose, you can lose your way. Maybe that's what happened to Arthur Roberts. He should have been too bright to die like that.
Tell me the real reason you were a friend of his.
A paradox. He grew over the years into a worthwhile protagonist. I wanted one day to get him for something really big. Now, by his death, I've been cheated of it.
I think that explains quite a lot, Gordon. I'll see you tomorrow. Or tonight if they turn up at the farm. Good night.
Good night.
You right?
No.
What's up?
What a day. From a major murder investigation to 2 sergeants trying to wallop each other.
Come on, home. At an early start again tomorrow.
Do we even have a home? Tomorrow's exchange of contracts.
I've got news for you, love. We've got 2, plus a very impressive bridging loan.
What I love about you is when I'm a bit down, you really bring me up.
Do you want the rest of it now?
Rest.
Well, I got the application form for the social services job in the post this morning.
Yes?
I filled it in right away and took it round. Got an interview on Thursday.
Bit sudden, why?
Don't know, guilt, worry. Want to talk about it now?
No.
Oh, come on. It's much better now than at 7 in the morning, before you go off to that farm on your policewomanly duties.
OK.
Well, I want to do social work. I've got an instinct that I'm right for the job.
Yes?
I'm not going to get another job as a design draftsman around here. Not in the near future, anyway.
What's bugging you?
Money. The salary.
What is the salary?
I don't know. I should imagine about half of what I was getting as a draftsman.
Take it.
What's about the money?
We'll survive.
Will we?
I think you do know what the money is.
Well, I did hear a whisper, but I didn't believe my ears.
What?
I'm not telling you. Not till you're greatly increased in strength, or drunk, or both, whichever's soonest. Come on.
OK. Will you drive?
I've been drinking.
Oh, come on. 1 pint. I'm not going to book you.
Are you all right, Sergeant?
Inspector Darby to hard to control. Give me talk through.
You have talked through.
Inspector Darby to 7431. I'm nearing site. Is it clear to enter?
Road clear. Go ahead.
Thank you, out. Garland? Cantwell.
I'll park your car on the back, Mum.
How's your head, Sergeant Beck?
Hi, Mum.
Gives me that. Stop. Morning.
Morning. Anything?
I talked to the dairy. The milkman says a respectable-looking bloke ordered a pint of milk a day 4 days ago. How long have you been here?
Left in the early hours, came on again at 7.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
How many here?
6, plus our London friend.
Fancy something happening, then?
It'll happen.
I'll give the troops the once-over if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Sir? White Ford Transit van just turned off Main Road.
There's a transit on the way down, sir.
Right, take cover.
Because of that bloody Roberts, we've really got to clean this place out. Still, let's hope about half hour see us out. Eh, Tone?
I should think so.
Don't forget to put your gloves on. I don't want dabs all over the place, all right?
Yep.
There's a lot of weight there.
We'll reduce them.
As soon as we're in there, call HQ for assistance. As many as possible.
Oh, look at the state of this place.
Did we smoke that much?
Well, I got the milk. How about a cup of tea? No chance.
See all them blankets, get them all rolled up, put them in a bin, take them outside and burn them.
Right.
Hang about. I think it's on us.
Shall we stay and front it out?
What do we do, Tony?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Come on, let's go.
Just how far do you think you're going?
The deal was to keep the farm 6 years. Sell it, split the money. Roberts wanted more of the split. Garland took out a gun, Cantwell says. Roberts made a dive for it. It went off. That's the long and short of it. I'll save the details for the report. Or I'd like to make my report back in London, if that's all right with you, sir. You'll have it tomorrow.
That's fine, Sergeant.
If I could trouble you for some transport back to the station, sir, I've got my bags outside.
I'll take you, Gordon.
Thank you.
Come on.
Can I have a word, ma'am?
Yes.
Something at the desk.
Give me a minute.
We've had to take Cantwell to the hospital. His arm's badly broken. He said Sergeant Cole did it deliberate.
Cole says it was an accident.
Did he?
Well, you better explain the complaints procedure to him. Ready?
I've got a friend who's going to be buried over there.
Oh, aye, sir.
Can you tell me about burial at public expense? Do they provide a headstone up here?
No, sir, they do not.
What do you charge for your cheapest stone?
Cheapest, sir? Well, with the cost of granite up 15% in the last 6 months. For instance, that item there. £100, including VAT, cemetery fee, and 50 letters best engraving.
I'll take it.
Right. Write the name and message. As I said, up to 50 letters. Arthur S. Roberts. You still got plenty more letters to write a quote, like, "Nearer my God to thee," or "Rest in peace," you know, of that style.
Arthur S. Roberts, born 1919, died 1980. No? No, there's not a lot else you could say about him.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're back in Lancashire with Juliet Bravo tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m, here on Drama. Next, more police work, this time with the boys and girls of Sun Hill in the bill.